When I began my career as an educator, there was a joke that stated that teaching would be super easy if it weren't for the students. Now, the premise behind this joke is that a teacher can plan and prepare and rehearse and outline and do everything that he or she needs to in order to have an effective class. And then as soon as the students show up, you recognize that even the most well-intentioned plans can quickly and easily fall apart because you are dealing with messy, complicated human beings who have their own ideas and own perceptions of reality. And you yourself are a messy, complicated human being with your own vision and your own mission of what reality is. So today I'm going to give you 3 facilitation hacks, 3 ways that you can engage your audience, keep yourself calm, cool, and collected, and make sure that you are hitting the objectives of your lesson. The first facilitation hack that I absolutely love is an engagement hack as well. And it's called 2 to 1. Whenever I ask a question for the audience, I always say I'm going to pick on the first 2 volunteers, and then I'm going to call on someone randomly. Now, here is the beauty in this strategy. People don't like to be called on randomly. And they also understand that there's a strategy in facilitation. So if I raise my hand and volunteer an answer, especially early on in the facilitation, I know that the teacher is less likely to call on me randomly. So what ends up happening is that I'll get my first 2 volunteers and I'll actually get 2 or 3 more volunteers because, again, people want to maintain their control. And if I don't get a volunteer, I follow through on my word and I pick on someone randomly. It's a little uncomfortable at first, but it gives that person an opportunity to shine where they may not have otherwise. The second engagement and facilitation strategy that I have has to do with time. Keep in mind that time is of the essence whenever you are speaking or facilitating with a group. I always wear a watch when I facilitate, or I make sure that a clock is somewhere visible so that I know how far we need to take something and how short we need to cut off an activity if need be. With that, before I begin my facilitation, I always ask for permission to intentionally interrupt an audience member. This sets up the context that I, as the facilitator, may be interrupting a particular audience member who may or may not be talking a little bit too much and guiding too much of the conversation. And I simply can say, excuse me, I'm going to intentionally interrupt you for the purposes of time. This actually makes your audience members feel really safe because they understand that you're not going to be going overtime and that one person isn't going to dominate the conversations. Finally, and most importantly, is to always have a backup activity. This also relates to time. And you'll notice that some facilitation groups take longer than others. And sometimes you're a little short on time. Now, when I say a little short, I'm not talking about 2 or 3 minutes. I'm talking about 10 to 15 minutes. Keep in mind that there's nothing wrong with you as a facilitator if your content goes a little faster than you expected it, but you want to have a backup activity just in case. This is especially important if you are a professional speaker and facilitator because you're being paid by a certain amount of time. And if you shortchange that event planner quite a bit, they're going to not only be upset with you, but your audience will be as well. Those are just 3 of my very, very effective facilitation hacks, recognizing that facilitation and teaching is an art form. Because again, you're dealing with human beings who have messy and complicated ideas. And so you get to sort through your own messy and complicated ideas to be able to reach those individuals, land the message, teach them a skill, and inspire them to be better. As always, make sure that you hit subscribe and keep up to date with all content related to confidence, communication, storytelling, emotional intelligence, Enneagram, and more. Make sure you come off of mute, speak up your story, and we'll see you next time.